What if I told you one of America's most iconic stadiums, where legends played, fans roared, and history was made, is now a ghost town rotting in silence? RFK Stadium, once the beating heart of Washington, D.C. sports, has become a national embarrassment. Cracked concrete, rusted beams, empty stands that once held 56,000 people. It's not just an abandoned building, it's a symbol of a city's lost pride. But that might be about to change. A new $3.8 billion plan promises to tear down the ruins and build something bold, and a shot at bringing the Commanders back to the city. The proposal has shocked the nation because it's not just about football. It's about power, politics, public money, and the fight over who decides a city's future. Some say it's a revival. Others say it's a scam that could cost taxpayers over $1 billion. In this video, we're diving into the full story. From the fall of RFK, to the battle for funding, to the vision that could reshape DC forever. This isn't just about a stadium. It's about what happens when a city refuses to let history die and dares to build something bigger. RFK Stadium wasn't always a forgotten ruin. It started as a bold idea in the 1930s, a massive national stadium to honor President Theodore Roosevelt. The goal was to create a 100,000-seat arena that could host global events like the Olympics and presidential inaugurations. But those plans never got off the ground. Decades passed, ideas stalled, and money ran out. Then came a more practical solution. In 1958, the U.S. Congress passed the D.C. Stadium Act, and a new vision took shape. A 56,000-seat multi-sport arena. It opened in 1961 and instantly became one of the largest and most flexible stadiums in the country. From the start, RFK hosted a full house. The Washington Redskins of the NFL, the Washington Senators from Major League Baseball, and George Washington University's football team all played here. On opening day, President John F. Kennedy threw the first pitch. It felt like the beginning of something great. But behind the scenes, trouble was already brewing. The Senators struggled to attract fans. The Baltimore Orioles were just up the road, and the team faced high rent and tight contracts. On September 30th, 1971, fewer than 15,000 fans showed up to their final game. It ended in chaos. Fans stormed the field, and baseball left the building. That left the Redskins in control. Through the 1970s and 80s, they turned RFK into a fortress. They won 3 Super Bowls, sold-out games, packed stands. It was a golden era, but the glory didn't last. The team's owner, Jack Kent Cooke, wanted a new stadium. Political fights, environmental hurdles, and arguments about the team's controversial name blocked progress. In 1996, the Redskins left RFK for a new stadium in Maryland. They took the fans, the revenue, and the energy with them. RFK, once alive with sound and spirit, was suddenly quiet. That silence didn't last long. City leaders weren't ready to give up. They tried to bring the stadium back to life. In 1996, RFK welcomed DC United, one of the founding teams of Major League Soccer.
1996, a dramatically different, totally different era in American soccer.
And in 2005, baseball made a short return with the Washington Nationals. For a brief moment, the stadium felt alive again. But those attempts, as we'll see next, couldn't hold for long. The comeback didn't last. DC United gave RFK a new identity for a while. The chants, the drums, the passion. It brought energy back to the aging stadium. Fans packed the stands. It felt like a rebirth. But time was not on RFK's side. The building was crumbling. Cracks spread, paint peeled. The old structure wasn't built for the long haul. Then came the Nationals. In 2005, baseball returned to RFK. The first game drew a crowd of 45,000. For a few seasons, there was hope. But the Nationals soon moved to their brand new home, Nationals Park, in 2008. Once again, RFK was left behind. Over the next few years, the stadium hosted a few college games and the Military Bowl, but nothing stuck. Crowds thinned, revenues dropped. DC United, the last professional tenant, finally moved out in 2017. Their new home, Audi Field, offered modern facilities and a better fan experience. RFK, once proud and loud, went silent. By 2019, the writing was on the wall. The city was losing millions just to maintain the empty shell. With no teams left and no revenue coming in, Events DC, the city's sports authority, made a tough call. RFK would be demolished. Interior demolition began in January 2025. It was the end of an era. But just when it seemed over, the story took a sharp turn. In April 2025, the mayor of DC stood alongside the new owner of the Washington Commanders and made a stunning announcement: a plan to rebuild. Not just a stadium, but a full-scale transformation of the 170-acre site. A vision that would cost $3.8 billion. At the center of this plan is a new 65,000-seat NFL stadium. Smaller than most current arenas, but smarter, tech-focused, intimate, and built for year-round use. Natural light would pour in through a fixed roof. Concerts, conferences, and community events could happen even in winter. But this isn't just about football. The site would be divided into 6 new districts. 3 led by the Commanders, 3 by the city. One district would feature a vibrant plaza with shops, housing, restaurants, and public gathering spaces. Another would develop the stadium and its surrounding facilities. The riverfront area would open access to parks, walking trails, and waterfront views. On the city's side, 30 acres of green space would be preserved along the Anacostia River. The old RFK playing fields would be upgraded and expanded. A new sports complex would be built with a focus on school and community use. The final piece, Kingman Park, would bring new housing and recreation space to one of DC's most underserved neighborhoods. In total, the plan includes 5,000 to 6,000 new housing units. Around 30% of them would be affordable. The new stadium would draw an estimated 1.4 million people every year. And though there would be parking, it would be far less than before, about 8,000 spaces compared to the 22,000 at the Commanders' current stadium. Now comes the tricky part: money. Of the $3.8 billion total, $2.7 billion will come from private investors. That includes NFL backing and contributions from the Commanders' ownership group. It's the largest private investment in DC's history. But the rest, over $1 billion, would come from taxpayers. Some of that funding would pay for infrastructure like roads, sewers, and utilities. About $500 million is marked for these updates. Another $22 million would fund transportation studies to see if the site needs a new metro station or better transit links. Events DC would contribute around $181 million to help build parking. And in 2032, the city plans to issue $175 million in stadium revenue bonds. To help pay for all this, the city wants to extend a special tax called the ballpark fee. It was originally created to help fund Nationals Park and was set to expire in 2026. Now, under the new plan, it would be renamed the Sports Facility Fee and used to support this new development. That's already sparked backlash from local businesses who expected the fee to end. Mayor Muriel Bowser has pushed hard for the plan. She says it's not just about football. It's about jobs, growth, and turning a decaying site into a thriving community. The project is expected to create around 16,000 construction jobs and 2,000 permanent ones. And there's another angle: Washington's chance to host a Super Bowl. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said the plan boosts DC's odds. That alone could bring in massive tourism and global attention. Still, critics remain. Some argue public money should go to schools, hospitals, or housing, not billionaire team owners. Even though the mayor says the funds will come from the capital budget, not the operating budget, many worry it's still a risk. And the biggest hurdle? The DC Council. They hold the power to approve or block the plan. Right now, the council chairman has expressed serious concerns about taxpayer costs. If the vote passes, construction could begin in late 2026. The stadium could open by 2030. Until then, RFK stands as a reminder, a symbol of past glory, a lesson in lost momentum, and maybe, just maybe, the foundation for something greater.